So I have not done a video for, I want to say, 8, maybe 9 months since November in New York. I'm in London right now. What a journey. Well, what a journey. So yeah, I wanted to do a video because I am basically, it's been a year since I got the visa for New York, for the US, and moved to America. And it's now coming to a close because I am returning next week to New Zealand. Yeah, this is a video about discontinuing to be brave and follow what feels right, and to not be afraid of making mistakes or failing. I have no fear of failure. My friends tell me I'm the bravest person they know. And yeah, so just briefly, the journey. I had probably the most intense winter of my life in the US, in New York, for a bunch of reasons. But also obviously Trump was elected around when I made the last video, and early this year I intuitively felt that I was going to be in Europe for the summer. I had a gap in the artist residency I did early this year between May and September, October this year, and I was like, okay, I'm going to apply for a bunch of stuff in Europe and maybe I'm going to end up there. And so yeah, it's been a pretty interesting journey. I did not expect my move to America to end up falling back in love with Europe, where I lived for a decade before COVID in Berlin. But yeah, so it was becoming increasingly clear to me that it was not very safe to be in the US earlier this year when ICE was hitting the streets. Yeah, not super into a country that's deporting illegally and disappearing at moments migrants and students, and rejecting visa and green card holders they don't like. So I actually don't think I would even get back into the US if I even tried, because I make political work. And so I applied for a bunch of stuff and I got a residency in Berlin, May through to July, and a dance residency at a place called Lake Studios. And then I got a festival in Vienna, which is one of the most prestigious festivals in contemporary dance in the world, Impulse Dance, in July. And so yeah, I left, and I left taking all my stuff apart from a little bag which I thought could be sent to me, and my residency director, who's also my visa sponsor, was like, well, let's see what happens. And I was like, I'll see what happens in the US over summer, but I kind of feel it's going on the downward, which it has. And I had like the most amazing 3 months in Berlin and Vienna. Did lots of shows, also did a lot of shows in New York over the winter, probably about 4 or 5. So I actually had a really great time in New York with my work, but I did not feel in a very good space. Like, it just felt very precarious in the US. They cut my health insurance. Yeah. They told us in the last month that I was there that all foreign nationals need to carry a passport and visa on us at all times. I was like, I'm just not feeling this. So it took me about 5 weeks a month for my nervous system to calm down being in Berlin, and it was like amazing, and I fell back in love with Berlin and Vienna, and currently in London for my last 2 weeks, and also loving London. So yeah, just basically reclaimed my art practice internationally, which I had before I moved back to New Zealand in COVID, and feel very strong returning to New Zealand for spring and summer and to see what happens there. But my backup plan is to move back to Europe next year, possibly with a PhD, which I know I could probably get in Vienna I've applied for a bunch of stuff in New Zealand, and my psychic says it's going to be good for me there. Just feel like I've healed a lot of stuff from New Zealand from being away for the last year, and scratched the itch of New York, which I do love, but feel like sad for America, and realise it's not my battle, and it wasn't great timing to move there, but also was amazing in lots of ways. I learned so much, and I met so many people the last year. I've been so inspired by people, conversations and experiences and collaborations, and just places and communities, and I felt very embraced in Europe. I felt understood, I felt cared about. I didn't have to over explain myself. I felt normal in Berlin and Vienna, and I felt very challenged in New York. It was very overwhelming. I had a lot of unwanted male attention down as well, which I also had in New Zealand during COVID, kind of aggressive, and some scary moments, but I've realised how like London and Berlin feel really calm next to New York, and I don't regret anything, and like have had some wild romance, some crazy experiences, done it like 15 shows around the world. My Jupiter's in the 10th house this last year, so that explains the boost in my career, but now it's in the 11th, and I've just had the most social crazy ass time in the last month or so, which I'm hoping is going to continue into New Zealand. And I have a lot of inspiration, a lot of ideas, a lot of things I want to do. I feel very regenerated and inspired, and I've just reclaimed my energy really in the last year from leaving New Zealand and being in the US and Europe, and now the UK, working remotely, which is like in work I'm not super keen to continue just because it's AI related, but served a purpose, and I have a strong sense of directions to go. Anyway, so I just wanted to share the journey, and I have 4 more months of my progressed moon in Scorpio to go. I think, I'm nearly there. And I wrote to my astrologer earlier this year from New York and said, it's been so hectic with this thing, but it's really motivated a lot of my art practice, and I've just reclaimed and just embodied, and all the intensity which makes powerful art. And she said, well, the good news is that Sagittarius is coming next at the end of this year, so but just until then, try not to die. I was like, okay, maybe I'll just stay in, slightly more chill countries. And I have invitations next year to do stuff, and have applied for things, and let's see, because the whole world is cracking really in lots of ways, and even New Zealand is crazy, 200 people a year have been living in New Zealand at a certain point this year, and yeah, it's in a recession, and yeah, the UK and Europe has been feeling the calmest for me and feels the most normal. But visa is pretty difficult these days, so I would have to get a PhD to be a student to be able to be here. I'm really happy I did not do the PhD in New Zealand. That would have felt quite suppressing, and the topic's quite heavy. So yeah, anyway, I've had a lot of inspiration and been unafraid to, I had to have a lot of strength to stay in New York through to May because it was quite challenging this year. The snake here has been very healing and confronting, but in a good way, and I feel a lot more grounded and in myself, and yeah, also I have some exciting things to look forward to in New Zealand, which I'm not going to share just yet, but yeah, I'm probably going to do a bunch of small short videos on my other channels, my art channels, as part of my movements forward, and yeah, pursue a bunch of stuff, and we'll see, let's see what happens. But like, yeah, just being unafraid to let go, and luckily I wasn't attached to America enough yet to force myself to stay through what looks like a complete collapse. And I hope that the US and the American people really do fight for their authoritarian, liberation from authoritarianism, because that's kind of the direction it's gone. I got COVID vibes in New Zealand being there, and it was like quite intense. So, but I learned a lot. Made a lot of really cool friends in New York, and reconnected with beautiful friends in Europe. So yeah, continuing the journey and returning to my home country unafraid. And I left, loving New Zealand anyway, so I was like, let's see what happens. And yeah, feeling empowered to stay in the present, and yeah, making art through this time is pretty powerful. So having the courage to just be yourself and keep listening to yourself, and yeah, getting enough rest, because it's obviously quite exhausting traveling that much, and really exciting, but like I've had to in the last month force myself to have breaks because it's been really exhausting. But I'm nearly at the end, and yeah, signing off from London, which I also have surprisingly loved. Have a lot of friends here, also in Vienna, so yeah, let's see what happens next. And hoping that your snake year is helping you heal